go. Hello, pet enthusiasts. Welcome to Pet Chat. My name is Jason Zakowski. I'm the dog dad of Bunsen, Beaker, and Bernoulli, the science dogs of social media. And my co-hostess with the most is...
Hi there, it's Kris Zakowski here, coming in from the basement and watching our dogs on the live cam. And Beaker is barking at Bernoulli.
Yes.
Uh-oh. I am the dog mom to Bunsen, Beaker, and Bernoulli, and the cat mom to Ginger.
Yeah, welcome to Pet Chat, everybody. So, hello. And if you're tuning in if you've never watched Pet Chat before or listened to it, it's a live show where we wrap up, we do a rundown of the week, and then at the end, we invite people from our community to come up to talk about their pets if they'd like. So yeah, I'll start with my story, and it's just related to everything that we do. And it was a huge milestone on Instagram, and we've zoomed past 200,000 followers on Instagram, which is really exciting. And I was watching it Friday because it was ticking up there. And I don't know if it was a goal, but it is a number that's huge and shocking, and we don't take lightly how many people follow us. So I did make a post about that saying thank you to everybody who was started to follow us on Instagram, because I didn't really try at Instagram a year and a bit ago. Like in last year, January, it was a ghost town for us on that platform. Yeah, it's a big, exciting thing to reach. And I think we'll only continue to get bigger. And that's good, because then our science message reaches more people. And that's the goal, is we get you in with the cuteness, and then people learn some science along the way. Okay, Kris, over to you. Do you have a story of the week?
We went for a really nice walk with the dogs today, and Bunsen was wanting to play with Bernoulli like he was a spring chicken.
Yes.
Like he was super young.
Yeah.
And speaking of the chickens, I sent you a text saying the chickens are out in full force. Be careful.
Yeah, I put that on Twitter. People thought it was Canada geese. They're like, are they worried about the Canada geese? Because they're Cobra chickens. Right?
Yeah, no. So today was a really great day. The dogs got to play and their walk, and you got some real cool footage on the trail cam. Have you shared it on social media?
No, I haven't. I think I was a dummy, and I didn't. I think I can share here. I can show everybody on live what it looks like right now. I'm stuttering, but I think I accidentally put the same chip in the same camera. So we only had one. So it's a window in there. So I think I can share this live, and it should just take over the whole screen. Do you see that, Kris? Do you see the camera footage?
I do.
Yeah. So it's really cool. There's a great horned owl on the left-hand side there that just came down for a little drink. And I love how they walk. They're so awkward.
So cute.
They're not. Is it herky jerky? I don't know how smooth it is.
No, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Here
oh man, I love owls so much. They're so cool. They're neat birds.
Yeah. So that was cool footage to find.
Yeah.
On the trail cam.
Yeah.
No news of Norbert, of course. And that always makes us sad. We wish we had more information to share about our former resident beaver.
Yeah.
But no, Bunsen did great on the walk. I know a lot of our fans are always wondering how he's doing with his rest and recuperation.
Yep.
He's been doing great. Every day is a great day. He's doing great. We just love him to bits. He's not sliding around on the floor anymore as he was doing previously. And yeah, so today I went over to the farmhouse to spend a little bit of time with Rafi and Ellie and the farm cats, and Docky Doc. That's my stepdad's miniature schnauzer. But the farm cats were super cute. Like they were cuddling in a basket, and then they're so friendly. And then Rafi was watching some of our content. I showed him, a fun facts with Bernoulli. And so it was the one about the sunscreen, actually, or no, the Miss Bernoulli.
Yeah.
And I shared that one with him, and he's like, how are they talking? Where are those voices coming from? Whose voice is that? Rafi was asking. It was super cute. And so he loved watching the videos. And then I showed him some of the AI podcast ones that Jason did, and he liked those too. So
yeah, it's pretty engaging when we put voices to the dogs because it's Pixar, right? I think he was more engaged with the real dog. So that says something about even those AI fun clips that some people don't like that we use the AI and some people love the clips because they're funny. But it was interesting to see that a human child liked the one with the real dogs better.
yeah, so in fact, he said, I just got to thinking, maybe we can go to your house.
He probably wants to. He and Bernoulli have a really cool relationship.
Yeah.
Because Bernoulli was a puppy and then Raffi was over here a bunch. So Bernoulli just loves Raffi so much. And then they roar around and they get into trouble together because they get rambunctious.
Yeah, I feel a lot better now that Raffi's 5 and a little bigger. And because, Bernoulli was quite unpredictable and a puppy. And those floors that we have are really unforgiving if you fall on them.
Oh, yeah, the tile. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like falling on concrete.
I'm always cautious. It's always fun to run until everyone in my family, Jason calls it the Schween gene because my maiden name is Schween, and we're just so klutzy. And I have it, and my niece has it, and my great niece has it. Raffi's not as bad, but he's had some good tumbles.
Yeah, it's more prevalent on the female side.
Yeah, maybe it runs on the X chromosome.
Yeah. Aside from that, Kris and I were so busy the last 2 weeks with school, and we are done. We wrapped school, and it's been a huge breath. We're just putting in time helping kids get ready for their tests. So we're not teaching. That takes a huge load off a person, not having to prep and mark. We're just like meeting kids and doing review with them. And my kids write Monday, the chem tests. So
and my kids with their math, they wrote it on the first day.
Yeah.
Like the very first exam day. So any review we did in class.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't any extra sessions because it was like the very next day. But on the day I was in the gathering area and kids were asking questions. So I helped them out. And I said, you got this.
Should we move to community sharing? Anything else you want to mention, Kris?
I would love to move to community sharing.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll answer some more questions because some have come in for sure. Okay. So we'll go to a couple speakers first, and then we'll answer some questions and stuff on live. So this is going to come from Twitter. Kris, I see you've brought up Holly.
Yeah, Sasha the Bernadoodle is also known as Holly.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about some of the tips that you gave us for our trip. And yes, to confirm, I'll just not confirm our dates on live, but I'll... it's not a secret, Kris, when we're going, but I don't want everybody to be like, oh, the Zakowskis are not in their house. Let's go to their house. So yeah, we'll just keep that through text, but we're going to Holly's neck of the woods. I'm going to meet Sasha the Bernadoodle.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So just text me back just because I overplan everything, and that's how I keep my life organized. I'm one of those people. Spontaneity does not work well for me. So
us too.
But anyway, I just wanted to say we had a very entertaining week here in the Sasha and Toby household. Started off Monday was Sasha's 7th birthday. And I cannot believe she's 7 already. Like, how has it been 7 years? I don't get it. But it was a great day for her because Monday is one of her hiking days. So she was with her pack on Sasha Mountain, and her dog walker keeps a whole stash of birthday hats and puts them on the dogs and gets a group picture. And it is so cute. I posted it on Sasha's Blue Sky. But yes, there's a birthday photo of her, and she just looks very happy. And so that was sweet. Thursday, Toby nearly gave my husband and I a heart attack.
Oh, no.
I'm actually glad I wasn't home. So this was entirely my husband's fault. So Kris will understand. Kris?
Yeah.
It was my husband works from home. It was a nice day. He had lunch on our back patio. He came in and thought he shut the door, but it didn't latch. He went back up to his home office to work and came down about an hour later and realized the door was wide open and Toby was nowhere to be found.
Oh, no.
So yeah, just to give you an idea of the layout, we live in a row of 3 townhouses, and we're on an end. And behind us, there's a really steep hill that goes down. It has lots of trees and shrubbery and everything. So Colin did a couple laps around the townhouses, figured he probably had gone somewhere down the hill. So he went and got a can of cat food and went and sat on the patio to see if he'd come back, which thank God he did. He smelled the cat food and came running. And then Colin managed to coax him back in the house and shut and lock the door. And that cat spent the entire rest of the evening meowing to get out and just being a humongous brat. It was like he got out and realized he liked it.
Yeah.
And I'd been really worried something like this could happen because he was a stray when we adopted him.
Yeah.
So he's lived outside before.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're having to be so careful now going in and out, either the front door or if we open the back door. I started Googling GPS trackers for cats.
Yes, you can get them.
I found an interesting article that was doing reviews of GPS trackers for cats. And it's basically, if this is your situation, we recommend this. It got down to, you have an indoor cat. And the recommendation was just to put an AirTag on his collar.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And because we're an Apple family.
Yeah.
And then that way because you can make it ping. And then it's okay. We know where the cat is if he
Find
gets
it by ping.
Find the cat by ping. Exactly.
That's fun.
Now we're debating if we want to break our condo's rules and get a freestanding catio because you can't see our patio from the road because there's a bunch of trees and everything. So we don't think anybody would notice if we got him a catio. And there's a company locally that makes custom catios.
Oh.
So
we highly recommend that. Ginger loves her catio. She loves it.
Yeah.
And then it's a way for her to be outside and be safe.
Yes.
But we have the same issue with the door. She lurks like a little ghoul and she can get in and out so quickly. And sometimes she runs away very far. And then sometimes she's, oh, this is grass. I'm going to stay close to home. And it's just, you never know what you're going to get. It's like a life is a box of chocolates. Is the cat going to run or is she just going to smell the roses?
Exactly. And just because with all the wood, it's not even woods behind us. It's just that the property behind us has not been developed. Mm-hmm. So which for our neighborhood is shocking, but yes, there is one undeveloped parcel behind us. And I worry because we have wildlife and I don't want him killing birds. And there are so many reasons I've never let my cats outside, especially because everyone I've known with an outdoor cat, their cat has wound up being killed by wildlife. And
where you live and where we live, they don't last long. And if they do, they're very lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, no, cats live indoors in our household.
Yeah.
So that was our excitement. For the week.
Oh, I'm glad it had a good ending. Yeah.
God, so am I. I had Sasha with me at work and Colin had texted me and was like, if he's not back by the time you get home, let's take Sasha and walk the perimeter and see if he comes to her because he's so bonded to her.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am looking forward to seeing you guys. This is very exciting. We've been having really nice summer weather here. Kris will be happy.
That's good.
Yes, I'm looking forward to nice weather.
Yes. All right. So I will go and mute myself now because I could just talk to you guys all night.
Thank you for coming and sharing, Holly. And yeah, we're excited to see you again. And of course, Sasha, we haven't met Sasha yet.
Or Toby.
Yeah. Or what? Or Toby the cat. Yes, you bet. Real quick question. We'll answer this again. Nancy asked on Facebook how old Ginger is. And Kris answered that we think about 4 because she's a rescue.
Yeah, we rescued her. And with dogs, you can tell by the age of their teeth, but cats not so much. That's what the vets told me because they just pop in those teeth that are terrifyingly sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we figure she's about 4.
Yeah. Pat on Instagram is asking when our last day of work is. My last day is Wednesday, and I think you go right to the bitter end till Friday, hey?
Yeah, we have grad as our last day. We go on the teacher organizational day.
Yeah. I did some science shows for the division, so I don't get paid extra for those. I love doing them. One of the perks is I get a couple personal days, but I can only take them at the end of the school year, so I don't cost the division money with sub fees, which makes sense. But it's a good little kickback for doing those science shows early in the year for the division. All right, we'll go to Paula.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, everybody. Hi, how's everybody doing?
Hello. We're good.
How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Doing a little better, but still hanging.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, it's been a long road. But anyway, exciting day I had. It was weird. We've had 14 weeks of straight weekend raining weather, and this was like finally getting a good weekend, and it was like 90 and the humidity is like awful. But my poor husband was staining our deck because it has to be done every year. And I was out in the back just trying to put some flowers in water because just doing something without dying of heat exhaustion. And I look and I see a little robin fledgling underneath my Adirondack chair, and he's not moving, but he's got his color hanging sideways, which didn't look like a listing boat. And I was like, uh-oh. And I tried to give him a little bit of water. You got to be careful when you give babies water. But he's a fledgling. You got to just do the tip of his beak because they have those two little nostrils and you don't want to get that involved. But I did call an Audubon Society and they said, take a dipped Q-tip. And he saw that sucker coming and he just grabbed the whole Q-tip, like the whole end. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how can I get this? And I go, let go. It's like I was thinking he could understand me. But anyway, so he did drink a little bit, but he just didn't look good. And then we left him alone. And then next thing you know, he's rolling on the patio in the bright sun. And I'm like, nah, this isn't good. So we scooped him up and we put him back in the shade. And I called again an Audubon place and I asked them if they knew anybody that had rehab people. And they give you a list in your state from the U.S., usually if you can call somebody. And I did leave a couple of numbers, but some people don't take birds, some people don't take. It depends on the bird. They'll take songbirds. There's all this. They'll do raptors, or they'll do turtles, do all kinds of stuff. So it's always good to check. And this is a law, which I didn't know. I learned a lot today that you cannot bring birds across your state border. So if I'm in Connecticut, I can't bring one.
Yeah, there's the disease they have. They don't want that to transfer. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so it was a little touch and go. And then finally I got a hold of one lady. She's very nice. And her name is Janie. And she comes from Plainville or Moosup. It sounds funny, but it's Moosup, Moosup, Connecticut. And she actually has a rehab place, and I'll get to that in a minute. So she said, go to your emergency vet, which is my vet. So he's open 24 hours. So she said, just go. So I went unannounced with my little box, and we scooped him up, and and the parents were nuts. And I said, listen, I just want to make sure he didn't break a wing. And if he did, if he wasn't repairable, at least they could mainly put him down because I don't want this poor little guy to suffer. So they took him in and they said they got swamped. They had a puppy come in that was a golden. You would have loved it. Her name was Mitzi. And then she was so cute. And then they had another Ridgeback that had jumped out of a window. So they had to attend him. Oh. So I was sitting there for an hour.
With the little bird.
With this little bird. But they did take them back because when you bring in wildlife, they can't refuse it. But the thing with my vet was over the years, they had to eventually refuse because they didn't have any wildlife people on board, like 20 vets. But it just kind of weaned out and it got too overwhelming, if that makes sense. Because people would find stuff. But thank God they have people that are on these lists because the Audubon has certain people. They have a website link for your state. You put in your zip code. It's called wildlife. It was some allwildlifething.org and you can put stuff in and it comes up. It's crazy stuff. But anyway, long story short, they didn't do an x-ray, but they did a feely-mealy on the guy and they saw some scrapes on his leg and wing and they said, no, he's going to probably be, they weren't sure if it was anything broken like a pelvis, but he doesn't sit up. He doesn't sit. So either he fell out of the nest, but his one leg just doesn't want to perch. So I called back. They said, you could either put him down or bring him to this other lady. And it's like, what do you do? It's like you're between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. So I said, okay, I'm gonna bring him back. So I brought him back home, and I called this lady, and she was really nice, and she said, mush up some blueberries because robins eat blueberries. So we mushed up some blueberries, and sure enough, the little guy gobbled some, and the parents were going nuts. So we left him in the box in the shade, and we could look out the window because he was in a safe place. and we put him in this big Costco box. But the parents were funny because they didn't want to go in the box. But next thing you know, what they're going in there feeding them.
Oh.
This lady was so nice. She said, she's an hour from me. So she said, if worse came to worse, and the parents, even though he was still okay, but he wasn't sitting up, she would take him. So the vet actually gave him enough water that he perked up. So he did go from, I think, being a little bit dehydrated to rehydrated, and the parents fed him because I watched them. They were bringing him worms. And so she said she would take him. So we might be going to Moose Up tomorrow.
Oh,
but my other story is I was telling her about you and your show. And I said how great you guys were at Pet Chat. And she said she was on Facebook. So I'm hoping she will be listening. And I will put it in the chat too. But her name of her place is Spicy, SPICY, like Spicy Paws Wildlife Rehab in Plainville, Connecticut.
Huh.
And this lady does everything. She does not everything. She does squirrels, fawns. She's got 8 fawns. I'm going to put this picture in the chat.
She sounds like somebody we should have as a guest to talk about some of her stories.
Oh,
hey?
I bet she would. It's great. I mean, she has so many nice things and stories. And what I'm trying to get to here, because I'm trying to talk and type at the same time, she has a wish list on Amazon. So she wants kibble for like deer, diapers for deer, because she just got a rehab deer because somebody, I guess, hit it and it was stunned in the road, and it came to the vet and it went to her house, and she has 4 of them, and I copied one of her Facebook page. And you should see this thing. He's adorable. She's got 6 of them in the photo. If anybody would like, I know we have a lot going on with a lot of Twitter stuff, but if anybody would love to give to this poor lady and her fund for a wish list, because she does have some really nice things on there. And she is in need. She's just nonprofit. She's almost was telling her about the herd. And she was like, oh my God, she says, that's great. If anybody could help her out in any way, that would be great. But it was quite he's now in Trixie's crate, and he's sitting overnight in the box in there because I don't want anything to get him. So he's going to spend the night in my house.
We hope best wishes for the little bird.
I hope so. Cause like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. But if it's something where he'll never be able to perch up, at least maybe he could have a good life with somebody hand feeding and drinking him. You know what I mean? Like just taking good care of him until I couldn't say goodbye to him because I didn't feel I should let Mother Nature do it. Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't want him to suffer. If he was suffering, I would have asked to have had him put down. And it's nice when you bring in wildlife that you're not responsible for that. So you don't have to pay out of your pocket. They help you out a little bit. But that was my big day. And so Trixie got she couldn't believe what was going on because she kept going outside to check on this bird. And she was at the window like, what's that? But anyway, thank you for everything. Congratulations on making 200K on Instagram. I'm so proud of you, Jason and Kris. You guys have worked so hard with your content, and it's so well deserved, and you got the biggest cheerleader, and I'm so envious of Holly getting to see you guys. And I did get my passport, so next time Auntie Paula's going to do Bunsen, so I'll be up there. You just say when and I'll be there. I mean it too, because I love that guy. So
thanks, Paula.
You're welcome.
Paula.
Have a good week, everybody.
You bet.
We've just been thinking of you with your ailment and just want you to get better. And it's been a long road, like you said.
Yeah, it's been almost going on 14 weeks. I still got the pain, but it's very slowly going away. But I took myself off of the big, heavy pain meds. I'm not taking those things. I value my kidneys. So I'm like on Advil, which I can almost tolerate and be on it like for the day without being too bad. But hot, humid weather does not agree with my body right now. So it is painful, and I'm going to occupational therapy for my hand. So I'm hoping that will come back too, but it's very slow progress. But I'm just got the faith that got good friends like you guys and everybody that was behind me. Thank you so much. And congratulations to Marla too. I am so tickled pink for her and Chesney getting that house. I wish I won lotto. I'd buy her one because that would be my first thing to do. But anyway, I'm just so glad that that's in the works. And see, dreams do come true. So that's always keep the faith. And thank you, everybody. And I'll shut up now.
Okay. Take care, Paula. You rescued many years ago an owl, Kris, right? You took it in the van did you drive to Medicine River Wildlife Rehab?
No, they met us at the county fire hall.
Yeah.
So this is dumb. This is not recommended. We saw something on the side of the road and I said, I think that's an owl. And so we turned around. It was my stepdad and I, and he was driving, and I got out of the car and I just scooped it up and was holding on to it.
It was a great horned owl. It was a
great horned owl, and it was a juvenile.
Yeah.
Thank God, because why would you do that? Why would you just grab wildlife off the side of the road? So this is a PSA, don't do that. And his little talon went, so I wear a ring on this thumb and it just grabbed and it was holding tight. So I'm glad I had the ring because it was holding my thumb so tight. And it's doing the cluck cluck with its beak. I'm like, oh, you're such a cute owl. And then I was petting the owl. I'm like, oh, and so he obviously was injured.
Yeah.
And then the Medicine River Wildlife came and I gave them the owl in a box. She didn't scold me that, hey, maybe you shouldn't have grabbed this owl. Anyway, then they rehabilitated him and then they brought him back and then we released him. My son and I, our son Duncan and I released him and he went back where we found him.
That's very cute.
Yeah, very cute.
Yeah. All right. I'm just checking Instagram and live for any other questions. And there isn't. So the next speaker is Belinda, I believe. Hi, Belinda.
Hello, everybody from the almost cold, wintry future. We're not expected to get snow over the snowy mountains until Wednesday, some parts of the mountains until Wednesday and Thursday of next week. They're a couple of hours south of me. So I won't be freezing things off until midweek, but I've had to have my heater on cranked up to 25 degrees a couple of times a day to keep me from freezing. But I just wanted to tell Holly about the one time that my first cat in Sydney ran away when I took her outside. Violet came to live with me and my sister in 2010. We were living in a townhouse. So there were 2 rows of townhouses and my townhouse was in the front near the street and behind there was a pathway and a second set of townhouses. I'd taken Violet out to just walk in the trees and get some fresh air and in our little front garden, and a motorbike went by and the rider revved his engine to get up the hill and Violet clawed into me. I was holding it at that time because I was talking to the neighbours. She clawed into me and leapt out of my arms and ran behind my townhouse. And here I was running to try and catch her before she got over the fence that I couldn't get into. Didn't catch her. So luckily she got in to the secured area behind my townhouse, except she got into the neighbour's back courtyard. So I had to climb over a 6-foot wall to get her out of the neighbour. She recognised that it was the back of our house, but she didn't recognise which was our courtyard. So she leapt up over this 6-foot wall to get into the safety of our courtyard, except she jumped in the wrong one. The neighbours went home. So I had to climb over the wall between our courtyards. And then I couldn't figure out how to get back into my courtyard because I'd forgotten to open my back gate. It was just a drama, but Violet eventually got home and she never went out. She never wanted to go outside again after that. She just hated the sound of bikes. And then Charlie came along a year later. He hated the sound of bikes. So they were never allowed out in the front again. They would only ever go out in the back. But luckily or unluckily, we were renting that place and the landlord's real estate agent, I don't know, you've heard about problem real estate agents in rentals, couldn't find the approval that we had to get for Violet and Charlie to come live with us. And so they said to us, oh, we're evicting the cats. You guys can stay, but we're evicting the cats. And we said, okay, thank you very much. If the cats are going, so are we. So I think we've been there 10 years.
Yeah.
So we promptly moved house 2 weeks after that with Violet and Charlie into an apartment. And they never went out on the balcony because it was a third floor apartment. I was too scared to let them out. So that was our escape story for Violet. Luckily, she recognised how to get home.
Go ahead, Susan.
Yep. Hi, Susan.
Hey. Hey, guys. I joined late. I was wondering if Paula could post, maybe you did in the chat, but on your main Twitter page, the rescue that you're using to rescue the little bird, because I'm invested in that right now.
Kris has it up in the nest too, Susan, on Twitter.
Okay. Great. It's such a great story, and I hope that the little person makes it.
We do too.
And that's all I have to say. And also glad that you're done with school. I was done on Wednesday. So good for you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Susan.
Big difference between teaching and doing review. And then, of course, we're high school teachers, so we have exam break. So the kids are writing exams, but there's no curriculum to instruct.
Holly's story reminded me of this, where in the middle of the night, the pantry door was open.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know if Ginger went bloop and then pulls latch down, or if Jason got up for a midnight snack, or if Adam got up for a midnight snack, but the pantry was not closed. The pantry was not closed. And this story made it to text from Bunsen because we woke up in the morning and on the floor in the pantry was Ginger's.
No, not in the pantry, like in the living room.
Oh, in the living room.
Yeah.
So the bag was in the pantry, and then Jason found it on the floor in the living room of her food. And so Ginger, like I was talking about her very sharp teeth, she can chew on the side of her bag, and she has done that before, but there was this big gaping hole in her cat food bag, and like the IKEA closer was still up at the top. It's clothespins, but it's not. It's like a clip. And that's what I use to close the bag. And then there's this big comical hole that obviously a dog's mouth has made bigger. And all the food was gone out of her bag. And we're like, which dog was it? The only dog we know who it wasn't is Bernoulli, because he's crated at night. So he was not involved in the shenanigans. But by the size of Bunsen's number 2, later, we figured it was him and Ginger who got into the food.
They worked together as a team. Yeah.
So Operation Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that was definitely easy to write a joke from. Paula, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I have to say one more thing. I did put the link on my account page too. And Kris, I got a good story for you. I'll tell it really quick. When I was probably in my early 20s, I was driving with my mom in February, and we were going on the highway and we're going up the ramp, and I see this little bird trying to take off, and it had a really hard winter, and he was running slapped on the ice, and he kept doing it. I said to my mom, I'm going to save it. So we drove all the way around the whole block again, went back up the ramp. I was in thigh-high snow in an embankment on the side of the highway grabbing a grebe. And I got him with one shot with a coat and put it over him. And he came up and he got my lip. But long story short, he had lost all his oils in his feathers. And at the time, we did have a rehab birdist on the vet that I used to go to. And she rehabilitated him and she put him out in the ocean because that was the only water that wasn't frozen because we had such a hard winter in Connecticut. And because he was trying to take off and he couldn't do it. And we rescued him. So I know what you feel. And I was using my mom's white snow coat and she's putting a bird in my white snow coat, but he didn't go, thank God. But it was funny, but I can almost relate with your talons on your owl because this little guy was pretty feisty, but I think he was happy that I did save him because he wouldn't have made it.
Yeah. We were very glad to save the owl as well.
Before Bunsen, when we had Callan, I would take her for adventures too, just like the 3 dogs now. Callan was the golden we had before all this. And I was walking down through the creek and she spooked fawn out from its hiding hole and it was roaring around and Callan was happily chasing it and it leapt into my arms, this little deer. And I scooped it up, and I was like, what am I going to do with this fawn? And I was like, do I cart it all the way back home? And I was like, nope. I just put it back where I thought it sprung out of the bushes and put Callan on the leash, and then we left it there. And it wasn't there. And Callan looked for it for weeks after. She was looking for the little fawn, but it was obviously just hiding. That's what they do, right? They're very quiet and they're very still, and they don't have a lot of smell, apparently. That's what I read after that. So that's how they hide.
But Callan found it.
Yeah, Callan found it.
I was like, hey, let's play. Run. And you thought, oh man, the deer is going to have a heart attack.
Something.
Because it was running. And then you just it leapt in your arms.
Yeah.
And then Callan came right beside you going, what do you have? What do you have? Let me play with the fawn. And you're like, no, going to click you up and put the fawn back down.
Anything else, Kris?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming and spending your Saturday evening or early morning Sunday or whatever time it is for you, and sharing with us. And we love hearing your stories, and we love sharing our stories, and we really appreciate just this community together. And I think we pull for each other. It's just amazing. Thank you.
That's right. All right, so we'll say goodbye, and we'll see everybody next Saturday. And of course, the folks who are part of the Paw Pack, that's our Patreon like community. We will talk tomorrow on Paw Pack Chat. Okay, take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Dun, dun.